everybody. Merry Christmas. This is so exciting. The start of Countdown to Christmas is here. It's earlier than ever before, but we are ready to cover 3 movies that premiered on Hallmark Channel this weekend. It's going to be so fun to talk about them. And I am film critic Rachel Wagner, and Marisa Serafini is here. Yay!
Hello, Hallmarkies. Hello, Rachel. We're back yet again. It's Christmas again. We say this every year, but I still can't believe it's Christmas again.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. This is not the first time that you have joined us for the first recap of the season. You remember
I don't think so. Yeah.
when we did Christmas at Pemberley Manor? You remember that?
Yes. Wow.
That was the first.
You're taking me like back to after those
Yeah.
days. Wow.
Yeah. So how have
That
you
was a
been?
lifetime ago. I'm good, busy as always. Still
Yeah.
here somehow, still here somehow. It's Christmas.
Yeah.
How are you?
How do you feel about them starting so early this season?
Um, Quite honestly, I think I've gotten them so used to them starting in October now. It's like
Yeah.
we're conditioned, like, oh, Halloween doesn't come first, Christmas comes first, you
Yeah.
guys. So I was like, all right. It kind of snuck up on me this month because I've been so incredibly busy. And then I
Yeah.
texted my friend. I was like, oh no, they start this weekend. They like literally start in like 5 hours. I was like, we got to get our act together. So
Yeah.
yeah, they really came quick.
I mean, the only thing I don't really mind it because I'm kind of celebrating Christmas all year long. The only thing that makes it hard for me is that it means I have to get the previews out even earlier. And the previews are actually a
Right.
lot of work. They're
A
really
lot of work.
fun, but they're a lot of work. So I'm like,
Yeah,
well,
I did the preview with you last year. That was a lot of
yes,
work.
you did it. Which are a lot of fun, but
Yeah.
it's just it's like eventually I figure we're going to be doing previews in August. We basically had to have them done by the end of September this year.
Wow.
Close
Wow.
first week of October they were pretty much done and recorded, which is except for Lifetime. They because they didn't Lifetime was the latest in getting out their
Oh,
slate.
I'm
And
surprised.
so that was the only one. We haven't aired that one yet, but we will next week. It's anyway. So it's
There we
busy,
go.
but super fun. And so we had 3 movies this weekend that we're going to talk about. And overall, the 3 movies, do you think it was a good start for them?
Yeah, I think it was overall, if you average them together, pretty good, pretty solid start. I thought one was stronger than other two, and we'll get to it, but overall, a
Yeah.
very fun, energetic start to the Christmas season.
Yeah, I would say a pretty good start as well. I think I have an unpopular opinion as far as my favorite. It seems like from what I'm
Mm,
hearing online and stuff.
okay.
But I thought all 3 were watchable. I would, lean positive on all 3, and I think that at least the 2 of them had like a real youthful energy, a young energy, which you don't
Yeah.
always see in Hallmark. And so that was fun. I appreciate that they kind of started off the season with some energy and some different casting and different things than we typically always see.
Yeah, we got a few kids these movies too, so I think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
helped with the youthful energy that we're like, oh,
But just
lots of
things like
kids.
crashing parties and stuff like it's just like has like
Yeah,
a younger energy than you
fun.
might
Yeah,
see, than
agreed.
in going on. So yeah, I think it was a pretty good start to their seasons.
Ho, ho, ho! We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind the scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
All right, let's dive in. Let's talk about them. So we have was the date before Christmas. This was our first release. This is directed by Bradley Walsh, writer Ramona Barkett, and it starred Amy Groening and Robert Buckley. To prevent her family from canceling the Chamberlain family Christmas Olympics, Jessie lies and says she's inviting a date to the long-standing holiday tradition, but it's really just a blind date situation. So overall, what did you think of this one?
Overall fun, energetic, especially for the first one. You're like, okay, let's throw in a family. So a lot of people already ensemble to get us off the bat. A lot was happening. I feel like, all right, blind dates, we know where this is going. We've all seen Hallmark movies, but I was like, the energy was a lot. As someone who is a very much an introvert, to be thrown into a party of so many high energy people, I'd be like, okay, I might have to dip out after the first hour. So that was kind of a turn off for me personally. But overall, it was like it got kind of stressful a little bit. On this, I felt like on the same level as Hall at the Holly, kind of stressful.
Yeah.
And
it didn't lean into the humor quite as much as Hall at the Holly. Like that one has more like slapstick antics, I would say. But yeah, I can see that. Certainly the competition aspect of it,
the
was
over
kind
the
of similar.
top competition, games against and games upon games, and I was like, oh, that is a long day. Like really got to drink your cappuccinos that day.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times
they were good chemistry, and I did like the relationship.
Good chemistry. A lot of times the family shenanigans style of holiday film isn't my favorite. Like I'm not a big fan of like the Family Stone and kind of movies like that. They sort of stress me out. Yeah, I don't like it.
I love Family Stone.
I don't like it. But this one I didn't mind the competition too much because at least I kind of felt like the Olympics aspect of it was sort of fresh. And I was like, ooh, what are they going to come up with next? Like, what's going to be the next activity? That kind of made it more fun, I thought, The part that didn't work as well for me in this movie is that I don't think that the save the store aspect was really needed. And I mean, I just feel like there's enough going on in the story with him, the fake dating and her grief and the family and all that. Like, I just don't think you needed this additional plot of like, how are they going to save the candle store, kind of thing. And then him, them deciding to make the bottom floor a retail space. And I don't know. That part was like boring and just not, we didn't need his character to have any more conflict. Like he could just be like the nice guy who's doing this for somebody. And, oh, she's actually kind of cute. And I don't know. I just don't think that whole element of this was necessary.
Yeah, I think if you cut that, the movie wouldn't really miss a beat. But
no.
In the very much the vein of Hallmark, we kind of have to have a business going out of business and stuff like that. So, but what really surprised me that it wasn't the main character's store, it was someone tertiary to her. It was her sister. So I was like, oh, or like cousin, sister-in-law.
Yeah, it was her sister-in-law, I think.
Sister-in-law.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like directly like,
it wasn't her store
with the main characters. So that was a nice surprise. Again, like you said, not needed, but I think we're so used to those kind of going out of business, kind of like let's save our store storyline that it didn't bother me. It was to be expected.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I still overall enjoyed the film, but like I could have even used just more shenanigans or have him go on some kind of like little day outing or just anything. I could have used that time in just more cuteness and not in like what's going to happen to the store.
Right.
So that was the miss for me on this.
Yeah, the whole like resolution and drawing out the floor plan in front of everybody. Like, okay, this is quickly how we're gonna fix this story. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say we're gonna do this. We're gonna move you to another building here temporarily and just call it done. I'm like, okay, then I mean, you could have said that 30 minutes ago.
Well, what
But
did you think about how they handled like her and her grieving? Do you think that was handled like well? What do you
um
think? So
yes,
her
I think it was done.
fiance
Yeah, I think it was
passed
done
away.
tastefully. But we didn't get a lot of grieving. We just like, oh, something happened. She didn't
Hmm.
seem overall sad, and it was within like that year. And so I feel like someone who's truly grieving, she took a good, I mean, like she got over that pretty quick.
Yeah, that's the
No,
thing. I mean, it
like no offense
was,
to grieving people who actually have lost, but I was like, girl, she lost someone in her life. She seemed like she's actually doing fine. So to bring up a loss like that, I was like, oh, that felt more left field than the storyline.
yeah, I mean, it was pretty quick, and that's always a risk that you have in these. And she does say, like, I wasn't expecting to like you so much, kind of a thing.
Mm.
Like, it did sort of catch her off guard that she has this. And I thought it was interesting that like they had the element of her mom being divorced and then getting remarried, and you got this guy Marcus with all his aprons.
Hmm.
That was kind of funny, and so like the relationships were a little more messy than you sometimes see in these Hallmark movies.
Yeah, and I liked how it shows like not everyone's perfect. Not all these
Hmm.
relationships are like up to snuff, or what people are like, oh, the whole labeling of boyfriend, girlfriend, that was a little too early. We all knew that, but it just shows, everyone's in different places in the
Yeah.
relationship. And I liked how there was like a long couple together, this one that's been together for a while, but they haven't made it public yet, and then this brand new one that like they clearly don't know anything about each other. So we got like different phases of relationships throughout. So I thought that was a nice balance.
How did you feel about the two leads? So Amy Graining, this was her first lead in a Christmas movie, and then Robert Buckley. What'd you think?
I liked it. She was from Santa Summit, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so she was it was like a co-lead in
Yeah.
that.
Um,
And this was her first solo kind of outing.
I thought she was great.
Hmm.
And I thought she really fit in with the family.
Yeah,
Like that felt like a believable family.
I
Um,
agree. I think
and I
that,
love the interracialness that we're getting with all like a modern family.
yeah,
That Hallmark is really making clear as these last few years. And I thought Robert Buckley like fit right into this crazy family too. So like quite honestly, I thought that the chemistry was great. I didn't have any
yeah,
problem not believing them liking each other after only knowing each other for a few hours.
yeah. I agree. I thought she was great. So I just interviewed her, and when I was setting up the interview, I was kind of expecting her to have sort of like quirky best friend kind of energy, and then I interview her. I'm like, no,
Mm,
she has leading lady energy.
nice.
and
That's
and
good.
just because of the Santa Summit, she was more that like quirky, nerdy kind of character.
Right.
And I'm like, no, she should be a lead. And it really showed here, I think. Like she has that energy, I think, to lead these movies.
That's good. And I like because even in Santa Summer, she's playing off of two other lead females. So I think
Hmm.
when you actually, give her the chance to shine on her own or just against one more person, again,
Yeah.
instead of two, I think it really, when you get those opportunities, it really shows you, oh no, I am capable, and hopefully, we can get more movies with her leading.
Yeah. So the family has these Christmas Olympics. And at first, the mom's saying, well, we'll just cancel. We'll just cancel. And so that's why she's like, oh, no, don't cancel. So you can't cancel because I'm going to bring somebody. And that's how the whole thing, that's the setup for this madness,
Right. I
which
think it
was
was kind
fun.
of unfair to say we're going to cancel this whole thing just because one person's going to be single. Like,
Yeah.
like she can tastefully bow out. You can still
Yeah.
have
It's
your
true
tradition,
that,
but don't put your guilt and pressure just
I
on one
mean, I guess a
person.
lot of the activities were kind of coupley, you
Right.
know, activities, but But yeah, it does seem a little, especially if she's just lost her fiance within the year, to say we're going to cancel Christmas because of, or at least
don't
the
cancel Christmas,
Olympics.
or at least change your plans to something else, or
But
make new traditions.
But I appreciated how creative the Christmas Olympics were. There was always something new. It's hard in these movies to come up with something that we haven't seen before, or at least that we haven't seen a lot of.
And I think like the energy from each game was a nice balance.
Yeah, I agree.
Like we had chaotic baking, and then chaotic, like, guessing games of each other, like knowing facts about each other. And then it kind of slowed down when they walked outside and slowed the pace down and got to know each other in that way. So like, I think the energy, there was a nice balance.
So 7 events, and they had the competition wheel that they had to.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, this is definitely
intense.
a tradition.
I mean, is your family a game family? Are you competitive?
Yes.
Your family? Yeah.
We are very competitive. We have White Elephant as always, but like we've gotten, imagine like 35 yelling Italians playing White Elephant.
Yeah.
And I'm the person that's in charge of the White Elephant flipper of the heads and tails. It's like we've makeshifted like a thing that we've had for the better part of 20 years. I kid you not. It's tucked away in a safe space every year. But I'm the one that always has to remember to bring it, because they're like, Marissa, you're the reliable one. And I was like, oh, thank you. So yeah, like we have to always do that every year. I was like, things change here and there, but that's like our one consistent staple of a game in the Serafini family.
Yeah, I mean, my family's a little bit weird because there's like 3 that are a lot younger than the other 3, so we kind of have like 2 groups. But now that we're all adults, we haven't all been together, all 6 of us, in a long, long, long time. But nevertheless, like we do like playing games a lot. Like we love like Speed Scrabble or Apples to Apples or Pit. Do you ever play Pit?
No.
Pit is so much fun. It's a simple card game, but you know how like you see pictures of the stock exchange, and people are like one. Right. It's the same idea. So you're trying to get all the cards for a particular stock, like all corn or barley or whatever. And so if you're missing 2, and you hold your cards up, and you say 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and then the other person says 2, and so everybody's screaming, and then once you get a whole match, then you hit the bell and you say corner on the market.
Nice. That's trading.
And it's really fun. I mean, nice. I figure any game where everyone's screaming is usually a smart move for family.
Usually chaotic. That's fun. And like, of course, Apples to Apples. Love that.
Yeah, Apples to Apples. That's another one that can get loud. People like defending their pick, and
Yeah. Yeah. You just got to know your players, man. You got to know what they like.
Yes, it's true. It's true. Some of the ones, like, it started out where you had to find the star in the apron, and because Marcus loves collecting aprons. And Marcus, I feel like
those are cool.
I feel like Marcus could have like a QVC show.
Yeah, he definitely has
like, can you see him being like, "Here's our Cuisinart," whatever. Like,
right?
He was good.
I would buy it. Absolutely.
And then they had snowball dodgeball. That was fun.
I was like, because what Christmas movie doesn't have snowball fights? Come on.
Yeah, that was really fun. And right around this time, I kind of liked that different people were basically figuring it out over the course of the day. Like each round, it felt like sort of someone figures this out. Mm-hmm. And her mom figures it out pretty quick. And then her niece figures it out real quick.
Sleuthing niece.
And then a lot of people were onto it with the couples. They didn't know that he didn't know that she was allergic to rhubarb,
right?
Things like that.
After their safe word.
Yeah. So she actually tells the mom, because the mom's kind of like, what's going on? She tells the mom, and then the mom says, I caught some of those looks. Maybe she'd give it an actual chance. That was nice.
Like, that was fun. Parents know.
Yeah.
A
Her
mother can always
brother,
know.
there was some real competition between her and her brother, some real
Yeah.
sibling rivalry
I felt
going
that.
on
That was
there.
very, very relatable because I'm the same with my brother.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Same.
also
Me
very
too.
close in age. Like, you
Hmm.
get along for most days, but when you're head to head, it is a war.
Yeah. The brother was played by Christopher Jacot, and it was fun to see him because he used to do a bunch of Hallmark movies. He was in the first Meghan Markle Hallmark movie,
Really?
When
Wow.
Sparks Fly. Yeah, he was in that one. It's not very good, but he was in it.
I was like, have I even seen that one? That must have been a long time
Yeah,
ago. It was Meghan Markle days.
yeah. So then she finally tells him about Sean, the fiance, and everything, and and then he figures out, oh my gosh, they're evicting Warm Heart Candles, and that the sister-in-law owns it. We get an almost kiss. They get real close at
Real
the
close. I was like, all right, Hallmark.
yeah.
I was waiting for
And
it.
I did think it was funny that the grandma was probably the most into the Olympics of anybody. She was like, "You can't leave."
Oh,
He was
Aunt
gonna leave.
Lily.
Oh, was it the aunt?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Aunt
the
Lily.
old. Yeah,
Yes, the one making all the games. I was
yeah.
like,
She was like,
I
"You
have it in
can't
my
leave."
notes. Yeah, Aunt Lily was a lot.
She was funny.
um, but like it's good to have that one person who's like so into it. That's the reason why we're having the traditions, you know. She's like so adamant. And you also can't say no to her too. So like you realize why the family is the way that they
Yeah,
are. Like, all right, Aunt Lily. We're doing this to placate you. Yes.
yeah. It
But
was really
she was
funny.
fun. She was a lot though.
So and then we get the bake off, and then that's when the sister-in-law gets the eviction notice. So this is like Ebenezer Scrooge sending out the evictions on
Right. Like on
on
Christmas Eve.
Christmas
Come
Eve.
on. I was like, who does that, man?
Yeah,
Uh and this is what I liked about the parents because yeah, we had different ages within the family and stuff, but even for each game they like switched up the pairing. So it was always fresh in that way. It didn't get stale.
yeah,
Especially
that's
when you had
true.
like an older person and the kid, you know, so like there was a nice balance.
Well, and like
Um
everybody kind of had a different response and a
yeah.
different dynamic. So in that way, it felt pretty authentic to the way families are, because every relationship is different
Yeah,
in a
absolutely.
family. Yeah. So then it comes out, and her brother fight, and she's every family Christmas ends like this. And then she says, "Can't we just have one thing be the same this Christmas?" That was
Oh,
sad. Oh.
you're like, oh,
And then she gets her letter from Sean. I kind of wish that we had heard a little bit of the letter.
a little bit. I'm kind of okay that we didn't. Especially because we already knew what happened. She like the whole moment of her taking off the ring and stuff is like we have to put that relationship in the past. You know,
Yeah.
that is she's still grieving, but she's already making strides to like start something else and moving forward. So I'm kind of glad we didn't, you know, hone on that like all that much. So
Yeah. So then we get the conversation between her and her mom saying like how hard it was to get divorced and then to be vulnerable again. And she says, Sean will always be a part of you,
yeah,
which is true. They're
it's
always
true.
there, the memories,
Yeah.
always a part of
Anyone
us.
who's lost someone they loved, it's true.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like deep sigh. Yes, it's very, very
It's like,
true.
do,
Gosh darn it.
do you watch the Andrew Garfield with Elmo this week? Oh my
No,
gosh.
I
Okay.
haven't.
I couldn't I mean I watched it like probably 4 or 5 times and bawled
Yeah.
every time. So
Oh no.
yeah, have your tissues ready. It was very tender, very sweet. It was all about him remembering his mom who passed away and Elmo listening. Oh, forget it. Yeah.
Darn it. Come on, Elmo. All right, I'll watch it when I'm by myself.
Yeah, it was really sweet. Really sweet. So then they have the closing ceremony light show, which was pretty fun.
I like that. I'm glad it wasn't as crazy as, you know, a Christmas
Yeah, it wasn't like
vacation.
Griswold's or
Yeah, the Christmas vacation. But I like that because it
fun.
like everyone had their responsibilities, their
Yeah,
role in that family. And I loved how he explained like this is my thing. This is my
yeah,
job. Like the light show is my responsibility. It's got to be great.
yeah,
So, that was a nice, literally wrapping a bow on it, for all the games, to end it with a
yeah.
nice light spectacle.
Yeah, it was fun. And then we get the big, like, he's going to save the store. They're going to make the bottom floor retail. It's going to be all great. And he's going to be the CEO with a heart of gold.
Yeah.
So, yay.
All right, woohoo! That was quickly wrapped up in 20 seconds,
Yeah.
but I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I mean, I'd watch this again. I still overall really enjoyed it. So, I mean, I'd probably give it like a 4 or 3.75, something like that out of 5.
Out of 5, well, that's pretty solid. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say a solid 3.5.
3.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 3.75 for me for Twas the Date Before Christmas. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the good folks at Harper Press and Lindsay Detweiler in her new book, The Holiday Bake Off. Nothing can stop Lucy Carter from chasing her dreams until her boyfriend drops the bomb and tells her he's leaving her for someone else. Complicating things, she gets a phone call from her ailing grandmother asking her to return to the small town of Star Creek to help out with her beloved bakery. In the name of family loyalty, Lucy is forced to leave her aspirations behind, but the bakery's newest employee, an expert baker, handsome Will Westerly, might get in the way of her holiday. To get all of your holiday sweets reading in, make sure you check out The Holiday Bake Off by Lindsay Detweiler. You can get it wherever you purchase your holiday books or online and use the affiliate link below. It's The Holiday Bake Off by Lindsay Detweiler. We know you'll love it. Holiday Crashers. This was directed by Michael Robinson. It stars Lindsay Finesca, Chris McNally, and it is written by Tracy Andreen, Lee Friedlander, Hope Jubar. And this is best friends Tony and Bree have worked at the same card shop for more years than they should, as both struggle to find their true life's path. This holiday season, Tony and Bree decide to shake up their humdrum world by creating new identities to crash the amazing Christmas parties from the shop's confidential invitations. All harmless fun until Tony gets mistaken for a lawyer, which isn't too far off the mark since she did finish law school, just never completed the bar exam. Tony and Bree are then whisked away to a fancy corporate Christmas retreat in the snowy Vermont mountains by handsome business mogul Justin, whose crush on Tony is real, even if her legal career isn't. Which is really funny. So, what do you think overall of this one?
Overall, this was my favorite one out of
How was
all
it your favorite?
three. I really
Yeah.
liked this one. It was solid.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, honestly, as I kept watching it, I was like, oh, this is great. No, this is really great. I was like, I love the dialogue. I love the friendship between the girls, between, the main two leads, and then and I felt even the secondary relationship with Bree and Vinny. I was like, which we'll get to. I thought that was actually more fun than the main
I agree.
relationship.
I was more invested in that
I was
relationship.
way more invested, and
Yeah,
they spent way more time on that one too.
I
I was like,
agree.
it's okay to switch. It's okay if the POCs are the lead characters.
Yeah,
It's totally fine.
sure. Yeah.
I'm all for it. I was like, I think it's like those when that happens in a movie, when you're filming, maybe you have to make the creative decisions like, no, let's change this and make them the leads.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
overall, that was really fun. And I love the dialogue. Everything was quirky, and just every character had its purpose, and their friendship just like led to, and I think I just related as a woman of the same age, also like who does big career jobs and stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I totally understood the idea of, oh, we've been here too long. Maybe we should actually make strides in our life to actually be where we want to be and
Right.
happiness. Like I feel like a lot of people, I'm speaking for millennials, but not for all of us, but like I understand we're like, oh, we're just here trying to figuring out our next steps. And I was like, I definitely related to that. So this one hit really close to home for me.
I can see that. I enjoyed it. I liked it overall. I did have some issues, particularly with Lindsay's character with Tony. I felt like Tony was really unlikable, and it was hard for me to kind of get invested in her character when she was pretty rude, and particularly to her dad.
To her
When
dad.
she
Yeah.
tells her dad that he's a joke, that he's, and yeah, he makes these silly ads and stuff on TV, and it was definitely a little bit bonkers to have like
Right.
I've never seen a personal injuries attorney be like the hero, of the story. That's unusual. Usually they're kind of like scummy. But
Right.
but also I admit it, I struggled a little bit just with the overall premise that she would lie about being an attorney. Like, you can literally go to jail for that. Like, it's a
Yeah, it's like
big deal.
that's huge.
It's a big thing. And
Yeah.
and like what they had to do, like, it was such a stretch, like for this person that she went to school with, that she happened to see at the party, would go into labor, that she needed to leave that minute, that there wouldn't be anybody else at her firm that would be also working on the case that could take over the case. I mean, it was just so I struggled a little bit, I admit, with that. But I did like the energy. I did think that I liked the friendship of the two girls, and I think that the side relationship, the secondary relationship between Bree and Vinny, was really good. I really liked that. So overall, I did enjoy it, but that was just my problem with. It's hard. I just feel like when you try to do this big lie, because that's a big part of screwball comedies, going back all the way to Christmas in Connecticut, going way back, it's like While You Were Sleeping, these movies where there's like a big lie. I think in order for those to really work, they need to be really funny. Right? You need to be laughing.
Had like jeopardy of like, oh no, this is real life. You could go to jail.
Yeah,
you could do some like real prison time here.
You would go, yeah, you could definitely go to jail. It's like a big deal. And it's not even just that I found this thing, practicing law without a license, that I found this thing online, and it says here that it's not just actually pretending to be an attorney. If you're representing others, preparing documents, giving legal advice, the unauthorized practice of law involves providing information about what actions to take or giving advice to someone that is specifically tailored to individual's unique situation, under the guise of being a lawyer or person experienced in law. And it says you do not have to accept payment or any type of compensation in order to be convicted of the unauthorized practice of law.
And she didn't. But so
she didn't accept
she
payment.
Also still could have gone.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that she didn't get compensated. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the thing with the assistant. I forget his name, but the one who was like basically doing all the background checks, and he already he knew from the beginning, like someone had to be smart enough. Like they're all lawyers. It's like someone has to pick this up already. And I wanted to dislike him. We were like, you're the one who's gonna ruin it all.
Yeah.
But also, once he
think...
revealed that, I was like, oh, but I can't hate you because you were literally doing your job.
Yeah. And you would think that if he had been burned by this ex, and everything, and was all wounded, you think that he would especially listen to this assistant,
Right.
And also, like, it doesn't really make sense that they could successfully crash all of these parties, because even if the people throwing the parties weren't the ones ordering the invitations from the invitation store, the assistants would have, and the assistants would be at the party. Like, somebody would see them and be like, weren't you the people that worked in the invitation store?
Yeah.
But
knows?
All of that, I mean, every movie, literally every film, you can be like, that wouldn't happen, and that's fake, and that's, like, every movie has plot holes. So I did overall still enjoy it, but I guess for me, the bigger problem was just that I just felt like she was kind of a jerk. I didn't really like Tony. That was my bigger problem with it.
I mean, I can understand that. Yes, I was kind of confused. I was like, do you not like law, or do you just not like your father?
Yeah.
So like I had the hard distinction
And then she
between
becomes
when
a
she's
lawyer
like
at the end and working for her dad. And I was like, what?
right. But I think that
Confused.
the redeeming moment for me and that kind of like helped with her build her relationship with her father was when she stuck up for her father in that
Mm-hmm.
pub area.
Yeah, that's
It's like,
true. I can see
I
that.
was like, okay, no, she's actually proud of her father. Yeah, she might be a little embarrassed here and there, but she's proud that he's a good man who's doing the right thing, despite how he externally shows it,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But so I think she was just more proud of the fact that it's like, oh no, he's doing what he loves and he's doing something right for the community. And I think that made it believable. It's like, oh no, she can really get into law and
Mm-hmm.
respect everything with her
Yeah.
father and the practice.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, like, and so then Bree, she also was like a pretty bossy. Like, she's going up to this lady at the hot chocolate stand, like, you shouldn't be
Yeah.
here. You should be making it this way. You should have fresh made marshmallows or whatever, and what do you think of that?
Um, I actually liked it. I didn't mind it. As I don't know, as a creative, I'm always open to other people's innovative ideas if it makes, something better. I
Mm-hmm.
liked the lady stand, the cut chocolate lady stand. I don't think we got her name once, and I don't even
Yeah, I
remember
don't know her
at
name.
the end. And I'm like, where's her like? Give her more, screen time, or like, where's her girlfriend? I want to see this person. But I liked it, even that moment and like that little friendship that kind of grew there. That helps Bree, understand what she wants to do and what she's good at and her job and
Yeah.
her career. So like everything they had to do things to like realize, oh, right, we shouldn't be at this invitation store. We have these skills, we just need to know how to apply it and how to put
Yeah.
it forward in an actual career. So,
It
like,
is
I did
hard
like that moment.
when you're basically like a freelancer. It's hard to know kind of like, okay, where's the line? Like, when is it being too pushy? Like,
Mhm.
when it I do that all the time. Thinking, should I make this call? Is that too much? Should I send this email? Am I bothered? Like, am I like, where's that line between being ambitious and being pushy? It's like, it's hard
Mhm.
sometimes to know
Yeah.
kind of
And it's
what.
also just like you kind of have to read the people who you're giving it to, like
Mm-hmm.
if they're not receptive of your quote unquote advice or what have you. But I like the fact that
Yeah.
this woman was open to all these
Yeah.
ideas. She's like, oh
She
no,
was. Yeah.
this is actually really good and this is helping my business. So that like I think it really depends on the person who's receiving it and how they handle it.
Yeah. Yeah. But sometimes it's also hard to know. Like, people will be like, oh, I'm really interested, or I'm really, and then you won't hear from them for like 2 weeks. And it's like, wait, what? I don't know. It's just hard sometimes I just find that that's tough sometimes, that line between like
Mm,
bossy and proactive.
yeah,
But
makes sense.
she did seem to respond pretty well to it, and in the end, like, ends up hiring her as an event planner and everything.
Yeah.
So, um, but it was kind of ridiculous when Brie gets all upset at Vinny for not for
Right.
yeah, because
It's like and that I
he's
mean,
not just the valet guy, like, he owns all this
right. And
everything.
that showed her insecurity too. But
Hmm.
also I admit I was like, girl, who are you to judge?
Yeah,
You
you've been
literally went to
lying.
3 parties
Yeah.
and misrepresented yourself and had fun and like had a bunch of
Yeah.
alcohol and stuff. It's like, girl, like you're the last person to judge about someone not or like withholding information. It's
Yeah.
like, all right, girl, come on, calm down, calm down.
So so Tony's about to tell him multiple times, uh, and once they I mean, I do think that this movie, like, the party part of it was the beginning part of it was the most fun. And then
Mhm.
once they get up to Aspen or wherever they were, it was less fun, that
Oh
part of
yeah,
it.
because it's more
Like, the
like, okay,
crashing.
now we have to keep up this lie.
Yeah.
Like
It was
we
less
got
fun.
ourselves into this, now we have to keep it up. So,
But so they have this kiss, and she says it was the single best kiss of my life.
mm. They
So,
both had a serious makeout session. I was like, all
yeah, they
right,
did. So that was fun.
love it, love it.
Um,
It's great.
and Yeah, so she tells him, and he finds out, and she tells him, and then she finds out about this memo about the seatbelts or something, and so he can stop the deal and all this stuff. But it all comes out. I got caught up in what it's like being a lawyer, and it got caught up in you. I needed an escape. It wasn't all a lie.
Mm.
So that was nice.
Yeah, I think she's like she got caught up in realizing that she's actually good at it,
Mm-hmm.
and then she's like, "Oh, I could actually make a real good career out of this." And it's like when you do something, you just kind of get in the moment. I feel like that's
Mm-hmm.
what happened to her. So,
And Vinny says we could figure out a way to stay together. Why did you ghost me? Like, you did ghost him.
yeah,
It's
she did.
true.
She did.
Yeah.
Insecurity. I
Yeah.
mean, it goes both ways, trust me.
Yeah. So then they had a year later, which I kind of liked that they did that.
Yes.
So there's enough time, like, to,
Right.
and then
To
it gives her
let
enough
the
time to
dust
take the
settle,
bar.
actually get legally,
Yeah.
um, I did like there was a time jump because I was like, we spent the whole movie establishing Bree and Vinny's relationship. We hardly established the main relationship.
Yeah.
So like
We
I
really
like the
didn't.
fact that we're like, okay, let's skip a year. Now we're gonna focus on these two. Now they're
Yeah.
actually both in the correct position to have a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Because
I
if you
mean,
start the relationship now, that's toxic. But if you do it in
yeah,
a year, that's better.
I agree.
It's timing.
I mean, and it's
timing.
easy to believe anybody falling in love with Chris McNally. He's so
I
so
mean,
handsome.
I was like,
Yeah.
right. God, I missed watching him. That's right.
Yeah, he's great.
So,
And so then we have Bree's wedding, which was
that was
really fun. And
fun.
the whole wedding, they did not have to do all that to have an
Oh.
Indian wedding and have all the, like,
the
that was
belly
an extra
dancing.
expense that they didn't need, which was really fun.
And I loved it. No, and that's why I say they spent way more time and proper care
Yeah,
to the
I
Bree and
agree.
Vinny
I agree.
relationship. It's like they're the ones who got married.
You're
They're the
right.
ones who ended up together. They're the ones who kissed first. I mean,
Yeah,
come
you're
on.
right.
I'm like,
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
true.
just switch it.
And
It's
that whole
totally
Bollywood
okay if they,
dance.
yeah, it's totally okay if the
Yeah,
people of color are the
you're
main
right.
storyline.
I agree.
I have to say it.
And that Bollywood dance was so fun.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was
And
really,
I
really
loved how
fun.
they really infused real tradition, because I how many Hallmark movies have we seen? I don't think we've ever seen that. So
Yeah.
that felt very refreshing.
Yeah. And it was fun that he's like crashing the wedding. That was a fun thing. And I would really like to start over. What do you think? And now she's not lying. So
Yeah, good. Good. Sometimes, timing. You just got to
yeah.
do it in a later, better time in your life.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
So what would you give Holiday Crashers 1 to 5?
I really did like this one. I'd say 4 out of 5.
I can see that. I think I'd actually just give it the same as Twist the Date, both 3.75. So
we'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
So next we have Scouting for Christmas. And this stars Tamara Mowry Housley and Carlo Marx and directed by Jason Bork. writers Ali Spuck and Casey Tabonu. And really, the standout for me in this movie was actually JC Doughton as the rival scout mom. I
The
thought she
den
was
mother.
I thought she was hilarious. Like over the top. Obviously a
Over the
total
top.
villain, but like to me, she was really funny in her villainy. And and so I thought she was hilarious in my opinion. And
In my
um
notes, it says the scout den mother was too much in
too
capital
much. I
letters.
can see
Too much.
that, but for
Yeah.
me, she was funny, and so I didn't mind the too muchness.
Mm.
I thought she was really funny, but and just kind of gave some energy that the movie needed. Though she's
Right.
just like, as soon as she would get on screen, I was laughing, and I also think that Carlo, he is like most leading guys can
Mhm.
play like suave and cool, like someone like Chris McNally, super suave and cool. Great, love it. Or they're like nerdy hot, you know, like
Mhm.
nerdy hot, or like, and you don't have leading guys that are both suave, cool, and nerdy hot. And I feel like Carlo Marx is one of those guys that can play both. He could be like
See.
super charismatic and handsome and, great, but then he can also be like kind of awkward and weird and a little nerdy. And I was getting both of that from him. And I found his character to be quite endearing. I liked him in this. And I liked him. He was my favorite of like the main cast.
Yeah, I mean, I just couldn't stop seeing David Peck. But it's okay because also a chef baker,
Oh yeah, Chesapeake Shores.
from
I didn't
Chesapeake
even read the
Shores.
summary. Single
Oh,
mom
yeah, yeah.
partners with her daughter's favorite baker for the holiday ball for the scouts.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I like this more than most people I've seen online. That it seems like most people really didn't like it. They found it boring. Which, yeah, I get that, I guess. Like it's not super exciting. But I thought it was sweet, and I liked Carlo. And there were things about it that I didn't love. Like I really didn't need there to be like this love triangle between her ex
Right.
and him and all of that. But the whole thing with like the competitiveness between the different scout moms and the little girl, she was adorable, I thought. I
Yeah, I
don't know,
thought she was
overall,
good.
what do you think of it?
Yeah, overall, I can kind of agree why people say it was boring. I wouldn't say boring. I said it was simple. It's a very
That's
simple,
fair.
easy to follow. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
over the top. The main conflict is something that we've seen before. This is like your typical Hallmark movie. Um, and not that that's a bad thing, but also like it was easy to follow. The thing I say, the winner in this movie are those gingerbread cookies. I mean, those first of all, they looked adorable, and all those big goods and stuff. I just want to eat that
Yeah. Except for
entire
that kind of hard
order.
frosting, that's like on
Yeah.
that is doesn't taste good. It looks super
Yeah,
cute, but it
it
doesn't
looks
taste good.
amazing. I was because I remember like literally as the credits are still rolling at the beginning, and like I had a very clear thought, and I was watching it, and I was actually watching it with friends, and I was like, "Oh, that's cute. I like those cookies." And then we saw that like throughout the movie, and I'm like, "Okay, I like the cookies. I like the designs. You can tell that he's really passionate about that business and baking and stuff." I was like, "All right, I can definitely get on board with that." Um, yeah, it's just like it's a simple movie, and I think it's just like everyone felt like they played their roles. Like
Yeah.
Carlo Marx played the same kind of characters that we've seen before, and Tamara also
Yeah.
the same. It's just like nothing was really all that different.
Well, so then they have it was cute every time she would go into that bakery and she'd be like, I'm your number one customer. Oh,
Yeah,
look, it's my number one customer's
my
mom.
number one
It
customer.
was really cute.
Yeah,
That
and
was
even that
adorable.
was a fun relationship too. So when
Hmm.
when the kids are scheming and making sure
Yeah.
that the adults are like setting up the adults for all these opportunities for them to be together,
Yeah.
it's a good thing when the kids are already approving.
She was like little matchmaker. Really
Absolutely.
cute. and she sees the chemistry, and she's like making this drawing of them. And then when she thinks that her mom's getting back together with her dad, she rips the drawing in half.
Throws it in the garbage.
Yeah.
Oh, like I do
I was
have to
like,
admit, like
oh,
when not to jump ahead, but when they got the picture back together and he's like holding it in the kitchen, he sets it down on the actual cookies. I was like, you do know that was in the garbage, and you just put that on food that you're probably going to serve to your customers. I was like,
that's true.
no,
It was kind of on the
OSHA,
top of the garbage, but yeah.
right? But like health inspector.
They had some really fun, like flirty tree decorating in here. Like she's putting up the star, like, oh look, I fell. Like I
Oh my
love stuff
gosh,
like that.
right.
I love
Yeah,
it.
and like, oh yeah, it's crooked. And I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Come on. I was like, you always let
Yeah.
the taller man help you. Come on.
Yeah. Well, and so then they're talking to they're talking to this other scout leader. And I just love when they're like, well, maybe we could look for some other ideas for the catering or whatever. And she's like, I don't see how that's possible.
Yeah, I was like, no, hard no.
It's really funny.
Yeah, she was way too much.
I don't think that she needed to have like the whole freak out about being a single mom. Like that was a little intense for this movie. I was
Yeah,
like obviously, like he was just sharing his experience about his mom and how his mom kind of brought that energy and whatever. And I don't think he wasn't making like a declaration about all single moms. He was just talking
right.
about his mom.
Right. It's not a blanket statement.
Yeah.
And I think, well, that also shows her insecurity too, because I think that was like
Yeah.
also coupled up with just having been with that obnoxious den mother, like scout mother. You're like, oh, right. She's already pointing out my flaws. So I was like, but that's also not a bad thing. It's just like
Yeah.
everyone has different lives. Just because hers is easier than mine doesn't mean, So I think she was just like trying to validate herself, I guess.
I also did not love the conflict between mother and son. That his mom is wanting to franchise the location. She was
Mm.
just kind of pushy, but not like in a funny, the scout troop leader way. She was just kind of like, I don't know. I didn't love that conflict. That wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, I kind of believe that. And you can see his hesitation too, because he's just in it for
Yeah, he wants to actually bake. He
passion.
doesn't want to manage,
Yeah,
which
it's the
fair
passion.
enough.
But I do have to admit this. I didn't look up the actress's name, but who's that beautiful Filipino woman that like who was the agent with the contract and like, are you gonna sign it? And we only saw her like twice. I'm like, who is she? I want to see more of her. Give her a
Oh yeah,
leading
she was really
lady
pretty.
role.
Oh, I
Yeah.
think that was Sarah Sir. Sarah
Oh,
Sir. Yeah, she was
Sarah.
great. I
She was
agree.
gorgeous. I was like, who's she?
So
Bring her back. I
so then
was like,
Dakota, the
unfortunately,
ex,
they didn't
comes.
like sign the contract, but that's okay.
Yeah. So the ex shows up, Dakota, and he's like wanting to like get back together, and so like it causes all kinds of drama, and that's when he sees, so Dakota kisses her, and then he sees it and he's like, well, that's it. And so then he's going to go forward with the contract. So because he's so upset. And
Yeah.
and then
Well,
that's when
you knew that
the little
wasn't
girl
gonna
rips up the drawing.
Yeah. But you knew that wasn't gonna
It was, but they still have to be grown-ups and make their presentation.
Mhm.
They're gonna have cupcakes, hot chocolate, eggnog, spiced apple cider, and mocha.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll take all of those, please, in a big box.
Yeah. I mean, not really cutting edge. I mean, I've seen those flavored cupcakes for forever, but yummy. Who cares?
Yeah.
And so this is where I wrote down Elizabeth, the mom I said, is pretty funny. That she was the scout mom. She was hilarious. but of course she doesn't pick them. She picks somebody else, of course.
Yeah.
And
it's like her exerting her power.
yeah.
The little power that she has.
But especially when that baker cancels and she like goes full nuclear, I was laughing.
And also, well, like honestly, this bothered me. I was like, girl, you are not in position to beg right now. Like, especially how you treated them. And now you're going back like, sorry, can you get a hold of them and like save my butt? I'm like, you haven't earned that, right? Yet. So
yeah. I did like that she says that the daughter, she doesn't get to make decisions about who I fall in love with. That was very healthy.
Yeah.
It was very healthy.
It's true. It's very true.
And I liked when he says to her, truly no hard feelings. You can still come into my bakery. Like I thought that Marco did a very good job in that scene. I thought his acting, that was the strongest acting from him of the night, was that scene. Was really good. You could just feel him like about to burst, and he was so sad, but he was saying all the right things. I don't know. I thought that was a nice scene.
It's I liked it because he knew he was doing the right thing. You know, he was taking the high road in that way. And I appreciate that. You're like, that's a guy you can like. when he does that, you're like, all right, let me take a step back.
So then he's like,
no.
Yeah, and so then he's going to sign the contract, and she storms
took
in.
The longest time. She took like 3 business days to put pen to paper.
Really, it really did. And his mom's like, "No, you don't want to do this."
The actress's name was Sarah. Sorry, she's actually Korean. Sorry,
okay,
I had to clarify. But I was like, either way,
she's great.
She's gorgeous.
She was gorgeous. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And she says, "I'm not going to sign. I'm a baker, not a manager." And then we get her coming in and saying, "Will you go to the ball with me?" It was cute. And then they go, and then Dakota says, like, I'm okay with us being friends. And so, get a cute ending. So I don't know. Overall, I thought it was sweet, and I liked it. I would give just one just slight higher than the other two. So I would give this one a 4. And the other two I gave 3.75.
Yeah, I would stick it in the like 3.8.
Okay.
But I do have to point out, all of her coats were amazing. Like she had 1.5 million different coats in this movie. Like literally she had over like 10 different coats. All of them were gorgeous. I was like, I loved the red one. That's my color. I could totally rock that. I was like, that is a Marisa color coat. I'm like, that, like whoever did the wardrobe in this movie actually did a really good job.
She did have good coat game. That's true.
Like, those coat options, someone went to Burlington. I mean, come on.
Yeah. There we go. Let us know what you think of these 3 movies. You think it was a strong start for Hallmark? We'd love to hear. And of course, we'll be back next week with the next weekend's movies. So again, let us know what you think. And please, if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. If you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And Marisa, how can people follow you?
Everyone can follow me at Serafini TV.
Great. And you can follow me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. And also follow us on all the social medias and check out our Patreon group. It's really fun. We do watch-alongs once a month where we have talent come on. We've got 2 planned, one for November, one for December already planned. They're going to be so fun. And any level can join in on any of the perks. So I try to make it like as worth their while as possible. So check out the Patreon. Then we have the merch store where we have new Christmas movie inspired designs. We've got Die Hard, we've got Christmas Story, we've got It's a Wonderful Life, some really fun ones. So definitely check out the merch store. And there we go. We did it.
Yay.
Merry Christmas.
First week.
Yay.